How was he punching? Was it hurting you?
Like a thunder. He punches like a mule kick. Unbelievable. Excuse my French, please. Oh, my God.
Welcome back to Quick Hits here on BLTV Extra. On this series, we take a break from our longer documentary-style videos to briefly recap a fighter's career of note. On today's video, we turn the clock back to 1986 and scrutinize one of the hardest punching heavyweights of recent decades, with a primary focus on the infamous smash punch that was unique to his own repertoire.
He missed 2 lefts, hit him on the right, left.
Dropping a like on the video would help us out a bunch, so please consider it if you enjoy our content. Here now, the frightful power of Donovan Razor Ruddock. Ruddock was born in St. Catherine, Jamaica during the early 1960s. Jamaica was a tough country to grow up in this era, with the gangs and drug dealers more or less running the country.
They then smuggle the guns to Jamaica, where they are used to control the neighborhoods through violence, intimidation, and murder.
In 1974, his parents made the conscious decision to move to Toronto, Canada, where Ruddock, a now overgrown teenager, joined a local boxing gym and took to the ring like a duck to water. As I'm sure many of you are aware, Ruddock wasn't the only young man learning his trade in Canada during this period. Britain's own Lennox Lewis was also making waves as an amateur in the Great White North, and the two Jamaican descendants would go on to face each other in 1980, where Ruddock gained a decision over the future Hall of Fame legend.
Well, Sam, you have to give both of these guys credit. There's so much at stake.
Goes right down to the second string, dumps it down, and he may be out. It's all over.
It's all over. What an impressive performance by Razor Ruddock. This is the best young heavyweight prospect I've seen in years, Sam.
Most fighters could only dream of scoring such a brutal knockout. Yet from 1986 to 1991, this was just another day in the office for Razor Ruddock.
There's no doubt in my mind that Ruddock is really a good, hard puncher.
Now, Ruddock is a very hard puncher.
Looking very, very important. Oh, short right in the left hand. It was a short right hand.
Missed 2 lefts, hit him on the right, left.
His attack is very, very vicious.
During a 5-year period, Donovan scored 16 consecutive knockouts, each and every one being set up by the smash. The punch today is closely resembled by the shovel hook, a sort of uppercut/hook that is usually thrown to the body from a 45-degree angle while keeping your elbows nice and tight to your hip. Donovan was different for the fact he could throw the shot from any angle, with his elbows at any distance. And to top it off, he was predominantly a headhunter. It was entirely against the grain, but that's what made it so successful.
Plus, the impressive string of knockouts have put Razor Ruddock on the cutting edge of stardom.
Despite beating 3 former world champions, Ruddock was struggling to get a title shot. Evander Holyfield looked the most likely to entertain the idea, but changed his mind at the last minute and elected the more lucrative option in George Foreman. Yet, there was another man lingering around the division. He wasn't a world champion anymore, but still considered the very best in his category, perhaps even pound for pound.
I want to fight, and destruct the world because I'm the best fighter in the world.
Tyson needed a marquee win himself after suffering his first career loss to Buster Douglas. Ruddock was in the right place at the wrong time. Or was he? On January 18, 1991, it was announced to the world that Mike Tyson would take on Donovan Razor Ruddock on Showtime Championship Boxing.
Could never beat me. That particular guy, Razor Ruddock, don't care how good he is, don't care if I died or something, he became the best. And he could beat everybody and he obliterated, he could never beat me.
Ruddock was a respected contender at this time, but Mike didn't seem too worried about Ruddock's newly found reputation.
March 18th, Mike Tyson, Razor Ruddock dies. If he doesn't die, it doesn't count.
Harsh words, but a true reflection of Tyson's mindset at the time. Being a student of the sport, Tyson knew precisely the danger the Jamaican posed, yet nothing but a vicious knockout would add to his already illustrious profile.
He's mad. He has really got a head of steam going. I think he wants to get this guy out of here as fast as he can.
Both men weighed in terrific shape. The world was ready for a toe-to-toe battle.
Round 1 scheduled for 12.
The difference in size immediately apparent.
Associate Minister. Tyson hitting afterwards. And the bad one carries over.
Tyson came out like a man trying to make a statement. He bashed around Ruddock and scored an early knockdown, although the referee, Richard Steele, should have seen that it was nothing more than a slip and trip. In round 3, Tyson put his man down once again, this time in clean fashion as he caught Ruddock with a nice counter left.
There's a left by Ruddock, a left by Tyson.
A Mike Tyson highlight reel is incomplete without that look of, what the hell am I doing fighting this guy, right across Ruddock's face. However, it'll never tell the story of what actually happened in the fight.
Oh, a big left by Ruddock to stay on his feet.
And the right hand opener. Oh, nice hook.
Here comes Razor Ruddock out of nowhere.
Came awake after all that punishment and inflicted some hard punishment again.
A left uppercut by Razor Ruddock. That stunned Tyson. Now Tyson says no. Hit me again. And he did with the right. And the bell sound.
Ruddock finally found his range. The smash was landing, Tyson's knees were buckling, and Donovan was racking up the points. Round 6 was dominant for Ruddock, with a few thudding shots on the bell ending with a shove and a disrespectful stare at the former champ. In retrospect, perhaps making him angry was the wrong decision, as the next round would be the last. And it wasn't the Jamaican with his gloves
It
ripped.
seems to have taken some steam out of Tyson. Ruddock coming back. Now Tyson with a big left. But Razor Ruddock, I'm sure, winning over a lot of people here for withstanding this kind of barrage. Oh, no! Now the right combination. Steele steps in. Is it over? It's over. It's over. And Mike Tyson has defeated Razor Ruddock.
There's no doubt Ruddock was on his last legs, but even Tyson admitted in the post-fight interview that the stoppage was premature.
Put him out.
How was he punching? Was it hurting him?
He punches like a mule kick. Unbelievable. Excuse my French, please. Oh, my God. He was hurt pretty bad. I would love to finish. He's at the moment where he's really hurt.
But you see, he still can talk, and he's still on his feet, and he's still conscious. Really, I think that that's premature because you should have been allowed to finish him if you could.
I believe so also, but I can't make judgment for Richard Steele. He's an experienced referee, as you know, probably the most experienced in the world, and who am I to make judgment to him? I can't judge him because I'm not his peer.
Steele wronged Ruddock once again, and there was only one way to settle the score.
Mike Tyson said it doesn't count unless he's dead.
But he's still alive, so we gotta do it again.
All right, now.
I think you could argue, in all 40 Tyson fights to this point, Ruddock was his most robust victory, which makes the rematch just 3 months later that much more admirable.
Championship.
You know, talk about unnecessary risk. Here's Tyson. He's already #1. He's already going to fight for the title. What's he got to gain? Nothing. What's he got to lose? Everything. And the opposite for Ruddock.
Some words were exchanged before the bout, Tyson saying Tyson things. However, these two knew there was never going to be a one-sided victory for either man. There was an undertone of respect amongst the trash talk before the first bell would ring for the second time.
You're sweet. Make sure you kiss me good with those big lips.
The hard-hitting Donovan Razor Ruddock.
To sum up the rematch in 3 words, all-out war.
Almost disdaining his hook. Ruddock is now tying up Tyson. Very damaging from Ruddock.
Big right by Tyson. Oh, down goes Ruddock off an overhand right.
Tyson started stronger once again and floored Ruddock in both the second and third rounds, identical to the first fight. As Donovan laid on the canvas smiling, which he seemed to do far too often, he kept the fact his jaw was broken to himself.
6, 7, 8, here we go.
And they continue.
I never saw anybody get up off the canvas as well as Razor Ruddock does. He keeps getting up off the canvas. There goes the mouthpiece. 4th round. Oh, tremendous uppercut by Donovan.
Ruddock fought a further 9 rounds with a busted jaw. Tyson landed heavy shots at every moment, but was met with a smash before he could deliver the final blow.
Sucking air, looking for that second win. Now, here's Ruddock with the left. Another left.
Done. Time to start his offensive. Oh, what a hook by Ruddock.
And back comes Tyson.
Ruddock had his moments, but Tyson is an ATG for a reason. The Brooklyn-born slugger proved his doubters wrong and earned the hardest points decision of his
Hell of
career.
a heart to come back from some of those shots. This guy hit you some major shots.
Hey, man, that's what it's all about.
And you have got to have some kind of award from getting up from knockdown smiling. You must have the record of getting up smiling from knockdown.
It's better than crying.
Tyson ended his post-fight interview saying Ruddock was a tough guy and would have a future, which was sadly wrong for the fact Ruddock's resilience would never be the same. After the Tyson clash, Ruddock bounced back with back-to-back victories over Greg Page and Phil Jackson. Lennox Lewis was the next man to offer Ruddock a title shot but completely wiped the floor with him, ending any future high-profile bouts in the second round. For the remainder of his career, there were huge chunks of inactivity. Tommy Morrison sent him to another dimension in 1995, which put the final nail in his career coffin. He did fight on, much longer than expected, only hanging up the gloves as recent as 2015. That isn't how he should be remembered, though. Ruddock was a freak athlete, the first generation of modern-day big men. His punching power was on the elite spectrum. If he had faced any other champion from '86 to '92, he would have held a championship belt, I have no doubt.